Supply chains. You've heard a whole lot about those in the news recently. There's a bunch of supply chain shortages. The economy is doing weird things due to ongoing supply chain issues. And you're probably not going to get your Christmas present on time due to these supply chain problems. This video is going to teach you everything you need to know about supply chains. I'll tell you exactly what supply chains are, why they're important, how companies manage them, give you an example of an industry leader in supply chain, discuss recent supply chain issues, and tell you how companies decide where they're going to sell their products. If that sounds good, make sure to like this video so that I get a good grade from Dr. Lee and from the YouTube algorithm. While you're down there, please also subscribe and ring the bell if you'd like to be notified when new videos come out every Friday. They'll help you live a life you love through personal finance and self-improvement. Supply chains are the processes and companies that an item goes through before it is ultimately sold to a consumer. In other words, supply chains convert a raw material into an item that is sold to consumers like you and me. That last aspect is particularly important, where we buy things. When we go to different stores, there's normally so many different things that we can choose from. How do all these things get there? How do companies even make the choice of where they want to sell their products? This last leg of the supply chain where you're able to buy things is called the marketing channel. Marketing channels consist of the individuals and firms that make a good or a service available for purchase. If a seller does not sell directly to consumers, then they have middlemen or intermediaries within their marketing channel. Simply, intermediaries are any firms that provide services to connect buyers with sellers. These services are categorized as transactional, logistical, and facilitating functions. Transactional functions include things like buying and selling. Someone sells a good to Walmart, who in turn sells it to you. Resellers, like myself, buy things from people at garage sales, put them on eBay, and then sell them to other people. In the reselling example, I also have to deal with logistical functions. This includes the process of transporting and shipping, which is basically just the flow of the good and service. I have to sort orders, pack them up, and then bring them down to the post office. When people buy stuff from me on eBay, they're also going to go through facilitating functions. These are things that just make a transaction easier. For instance, PayPal can extend credit for people to buy now and pay later. By performing these four functions, intermediaries are able to provide what are called utility benefits. These include time, place, form, and possession utility. Time and place utility allow buyers to buy things when and where they want. Form utility is making goods and services more appealing through things like advertising. And finally, possession utility helps people claim ownership of something, like PayPal does with financing. Now, if it sounds like there's a lot of people involved in these marketing channels, well then you'd be right. The number of firms in between the company selling the product and the buyer is known as the length of the channel. For example, companies that sell directly to consumers would have a channel length of 0, since there are no intermediaries. The other three most popular types of marketing channels are indirect, since they all include intermediaries. The first has a retailer in between the producer and the consumer. Think about car companies who ship off their cars to lots who then sell them to buyers. The next channel include wholesalers who buy in bulk and then sell that to retailers. A candy company ships pallets out to wholesalers. They sell their boxes to retailers who in turn sell individual bars to individual consumers. The final most popular channel adds an agent before this process. Agents negotiate deals between producers and the wholesalers, and that's typically going to be for more specialty things like jewelry. So which is a better channel, direct or indirect methods? Direct-to-consumer or DTC allows customers to buy things from a company without having to deal with anything in person, such as talking to a salesperson. This is obviously very prevalent in online shopping. This is going to save time for the consumer as well as labor costs for the producer. The channel that's used is really going to depend on what type of good or service is being sold. Now, what's something that you definitely need to purchase in person? Comment down below. An obvious answer might be a new car, although Tesla is trying really hard to disrupt this old model. And now you might be thinking to yourself, well, you could just go down to the Tesla store and buy one there too. Well, you'd be right. This is because Tesla, like a lot of other companies, engages in what's called dual distribution. This is the process of selling the same good or service in different ways to different buyers. For example, a producer that sells washing machines could sell them in bulk to a laundromat that needs new equipment. The same company could also sell them to a retailer like Lowe's, who's then going to sell them individually to individual consumers who need new washers. The way companies deal with their marketing channels is called marketing channel management. One popular method is to use vertical marketing systems. These see all members within a marketing channel work together to achieve channel economies and maximize their marketing impact. More simply, vertical marketing systems try to minimize costs and maximize profits for all members within the system. One example would be corporate systems. These combine the successive stages of production and distribution under a single ownership. Think of a clothing manufacturer that goes out to buy a wool farm or purchases a shipping company. Those would be examples of backwards and forwards integration. Next up, there's administered systems. This is where channel members with the largest size and most influence get to dictate production and distribution. Look at the way that Walmart handles its suppliers. Finally, there's contractual systems. This is where independent and producers come together under a contractual agreement to try and achieve better results together than they could do alone. The most popular contractual system is franchising, which you're likely very familiar with. Now, with all of those different choices, how do companies make the decision as to which marketing channel to use? One way would be to focus on coverage of a target market and its density. This is the number of stores in a geographic area, and this area is going to be one that's accessible to the people that a company would like like to sell to. There are 3 different coverage options. The first is intensive distribution. This is getting a product into as many outlets as possible. This is the reason why you see Coca-Cola sold everywhere. It is, I'd like to buy the world of Coke, after all. And then there's exclusive distribution, which is the opposite. It's choosing only one retailer in a given area to sell your products. This is more common for luxury goods such as designer clothing like Saint Laurent Paris. This is the fashion house I based my freshman to junior year look on, although you wouldn't know it based on watching these videos. Finally, there's selective distribution, which is splitting the difference between these two and choosing a couple different retailers to sell your products in. Clothing is also a good example. You might see certain brands in Macy's or Bloomingdale's, but not in Ross. Beyond coverage, companies might also choose different marketing channels based on their ability to fulfill buyer requirements. These are things that influence a buyer to buy a particular good or service versus another one. There's the ability of information, the convenience of checkout and location, variety of available stuff to buy, and services provided before and after the sale. Companies can also use classic profitability analysis for selecting their marketing channels. Of note, the more members there are in a channel, the less profitability the producer will likely see due to the amount of people involved. Having too many cooks in the metaphorical kitchen may also lead to conflict. Channel conflict is when one channel member believes that another channel member is engaged in behavior that's going to stop it from achieving its goals. The most common example is disintermediation. That's when a channel member bypasses another channel member in order to buy or sell products directly. Obviously, conflict is not good because it gets in the way of the smooth transfer of goods and services between channel members. This is in stark contrast to the goal of logistics. Logistics are activities that focus on getting the right amount of products to the right place at the right time at the lowest possible cost. Companies must work together by sharing their information, knowledge, skills, data, and a whole bunch of other stuff in order to achieve the seamless flow of goods and services to provide great logistics for their consumers. This sharing between members of logistical activities is what we now call the supply chain. As mentioned at the start, supply chains are what turn raw materials or ideas into goods and services that are ultimately delivered to consumers. While marketing channels are only a piece of the supply chain, this is where we, as consumers, tend to feel the supply chain disruptions the most. Like, wasn't it really weird to walk into a grocery store in America the other year and see empty shelves? The reason I spent so much time talking about marketing channels is because successful companies are the ones that are able to align their supply chain goals with their marketing strategies. Companies do this by looking at 3 simple things. First, you have to know your customer. Second, you need to know your supply chain. Then, you need to make sure that the needs of one can be satisfied by the goals of the other. Let's look at Walmart. Walmart's customers want to save money. Walmart's supply chain has the goal of providing customers with the lowest available costs in order to enable Walmart's cost leadership strategy. Therefore, customer needs are satisfied by Walmart's supply chain goals, which is one of the reasons why they are so successful. So, Walmart was founded by Sam Walton, or Mr. Sam. He opened Walton's 5 and 10 in Bentonville, Arkansas in 1950. Over time, this morphed into the first official Walmart store. It opened in 1962 in Rogers, Arkansas. Walmart's values are primarily employee and culture oriented. The company says they are guided by good: service to the customer, respect for the individual, strive for excellence, and act with integrity. Walmart's mission statement is to improve performance in order to achieve our common purpose of saving people money so that they can live better. This can be seen directly in their efforts to increase their supply chain performance as well as their 4Ps marketing mix strategy. Walmart has quite a large target audience, anyone interested in saving money. In fact, 95% of American consumers spent money in Walmart in 2016. I was one of them, and you probably were too. Looking at their 4P strategy, Walmart offers a vast array of different products as well as some of their own generic brands. For price, Walmart engages in low price cost leadership, which it makes up for by selling massive volumes of inventory through its supply chain performance. For place, distribution components helps Walmart to stock its 10,566 stores worldwide. There are 4,742 stores in the US alone. And finally, for promotion, Walmart engages in a lot of traditional advertising like TV commercials or print ads. Of interest, Walmart was actually one of the first major companies to gain any traction on TikTok and to utilize its shopping features. These videos were a big hit online, even bigger than that Add Some Music guy, who I think you should also check out. So now, how is Walmart handling crisis? As mentioned, there are a lot of ongoing supply chain issues. Walmart is hiring more than 20,000 new supply chain workers for this upcoming holiday season. Okay, now with all those boxes checked off for class, let's talk some details. Walmart's supply chain is designed to minimize and eliminate warehousing. This is just the storage of goods and inventory. Rather, Walmart sends its products directly to its stores. This means that there's a lot more inventory available for sale rather than it just sitting on shelves. This is achieved through cross-stocking. Walmart collects products from suppliers, sorts them for different stores, and then transports these items directly to their different outlets. Cross-stocking allows Walmart to run only a minimum amount of distribution centers. Part of the reason that cross-stocking is so efficient is due to Walmart's investment into technology. Walmart tracks inventory and purchase data from all of its different stores, and then it relays this to its suppliers. In turn, these suppliers can manufacture goods and products as they are needed. This is called vendor-managed inventory. This helps Walmart's supply chain to be very responsive to changes in demand, and it also makes it one of the best in the world. Another of Walmart's strength is their logistics management. This is the minimizing of total logistics costs and the delivery of appropriate levels of customer service. Total logistics costs include a whole bunch of things, and customer service is the ability to satisfy users in terms of time, dependability, communication, and convenience. Okay, now one last box to check. What do I think about Walmart? Well, I think it's pretty dang good. You just can't beat the prices on most of the stuff, and you can't beat the variety of the amount of different things they have available to buy. The only thing I dislike is that you occasionally run into some weird people while you're there, but hey, I live in a big city, that's bound to happen, and in fact, it can happen anywhere. Now, do I have any recommendations for Walmart? Considering the fact that if they were a country, they'd have the world's 24th largest GDP, and I'm just a guy with 80 YouTube subscribers, I'm going to recommend just keep on keeping on, Walmart. Now make sure you also keep your mouse on that like button and then click it. You can also subscribe and ring the bell to be notified if you'd like to find out the next time I upload an overly edited for a class presentation video. Do you like Walmart? How often do you shop there? Do you think supply chain issues are going away anytime soon? Let me know. Comment down below. Click the video on screen to watch another that you're going to enjoy, and then please add some music, some supply chain logistics, or whatever else it is that you love to your day.
Add some music, just add some